Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Just ahead of Howard Tsumura from varsityletters.ca. All today's guests brought to you by the Vancouver Giants. Giants and Prince George. Sunday, 4 o'clock. VancouverGiants.com/tickets if you're interested. I checked out varsityletters.ca, Howard Tsumura's website, last night.
Good site.
And there was like 700 games there yesterday.
Yeah.
He wrote on every single one of them. And then I'm looking at all these nice pictures on the website. And the caption underneath, photo by Howard Tsumura.
Yeah.
So he's writing stories.
He's a one-man
and taking
machine.
pictures. You could learn something off
He's
him
a one-man.
in terms of work ethic. Howard Tsumura joins us now from varsityletters.ca. BC Boys High School Basketball Championship going on at the LEC. Howard, thanks for doing this. How are you? Are you tired?
I am terrific, and wow, this is such an honor. Thank you for calling me this morning, you guys. I've been in a hotel in Langley 12 of the last 14 days, seeing nothing but basketball. It's beautiful. I covered junior boys, girls last week, and now the senior boys that's starting yesterday, and it's the joy of my life. But you know what? As you get older, and I keep hanging around with all these gray-haired people who are looking at these young athletes on the floor, you feel it. Like I am just whipped this morning, and we got more games tonight, but it's great to be with you.
Well, fewer games as the tournament goes on, so there's that. And before we go any further, Howard, we talked about this earlier this week. Let's do it again. But Riverside ends up winning the BC Girls High School Basketball Championship, so kudos to them. Yesterday, Semiahmoo ranked number 1. They beat Mount Baker 116-52. What makes that team special, and can anyone knock them off?
Well, I don't think there's an invincible team in this field, and Semiahmoo has lost their share of games, so they don't come in with the absolute air of invincibility. But that team, coached by Les Brown, it's been fun to watch them. Last year, they got to the championship final and lost to Burnaby South, and the key there was 3 incredible grade 10s on that team. I mean, they're all back this year, and they're back. It was an incredible group of athletes to watch, and when they're going full gear, they are deserving of that number 1 seed. They played a team from the States, a nationally ranked team, Eastside Catholic from Washington State, just before December in around my tournament at the LEC, and almost beat them. Like I think it was a 6-point game or 7-point game. That's how good that team is. That's like one of these teams that you see if you go down to the States and you see, hey, let's look at the Washington State AAA, top 10 rankings. Who are the top 2 or 3 teams? Semiahmoo can be that kind of a team. So incredibly talented. So I think everybody kind of looking at them as the tournament favorite coming in.
Howard, Burnaby South wins 3 of the last 4 championships, doesn't qualify this year. There's more and more schools. Will we see another dynasty, Howard?
Yeah, I don't think dynasties are out of the question, Rick. It's just Burnaby South. It's how much work are they doing at the level beneath this senior varsity level, and you see that at the BC Junior Championships. Burnaby South coaching staff they have a lot of people dedicated at every grade level. And I think when you see that, you can kind of foretell. I think they're going to be back again next year and stick around for a while. When you have that kind of dedication, it's so hard to find because nobody gets paid in this gig that we're covering here. These people are just dedicated to kids. You got to work with the club system. You have to do so many different things all unfolding at the same time to get that dynasty happening. So I think it's pretty rare, and I think what Burnaby South did, you got to take your hat off and tip the captain Mike Bell and his crew at Burnaby South. An incredible job, and it's rare to see what Burnaby South has done. I mean, perhaps Semiahmoo can get something going here, but Burnaby South, they were terrific for that length of time.
Howard, so many Canadians in the NBA. Are you seeing more kids playing basketball at the grassroots level? And is this tournament, are you noticing over the years the skill level improving?
Yeah, it definitely is. I think when you start seeing upsets in the opening round, like you're watching the NCAA tournament, I mean, we had 2, 14 over 3s yesterday. Or rather, an 11, so I should say an 11 over, I can't do my math. A 14 over a 3 was one of them. I think the other one was an 11 over a 6. Mm-hmm. And when you start seeing those kinds of games, yeah, exactly. You know that the parity is there. And that's what's fun about this year's tournament is that anybody could win at 4A and 3A, the way we look at the 2 largest tiers. there's incredible talent right now coming through, and the high school and club systems were kind of opposed to each other for the longest length of time, and people thought it was going to be the demise of high school basketball. I think what we're starting to see, and nobody's really talking about it, is how these two sides are actually, not opposed to each other. And I think club basketball is helping high school basketball to a large extent in terms of getting them more off-season reps, but the kids wanting to play high school basketball because of what the Langley Event Center represents as a showcase place to play. When you sell out the Arena Bowl, like they did last season for the championships at 3A and 4A, it was the largest crowd that had ever played for any sporting event in that building. And there's a Western Hockey League team in that building. Yeah. That's how many people were there. And that's the interest level that is there right now. If I write a story on Varsity Letters on boys high school basketball, the hit rate just goes through the roof. And I could do it every day, but I want to spread it around to girls, guys, everybody, all tiers and all levels. But if you wrote about Semiahmoo, Vancouver College, St. George's, all these teams every day, it'd be like a major beat. That's how many people want to read about those teams. And I'm blown away by the interest.
Don't forget Archbishop Kearney, where my kids go. They got knocked out yesterday. They lost their first game. Hey, Howard, you're like a lot of us in this business. You've had to reinvent yourself. Tell us about varsityletters.ca before you go.
Oh, thank you for that. That's great. You know what? At the Province newspaper, and I love those guys dearly, Paul Chapman and all those guys. It just, I could kind of tell what was happening, and it's a reality that, in these times, if I wanted to keep doing high school sports the way I wanted to do it, I kind of had to kind of just strike out on my own and do it. And I know those guys back at the newspaper appreciate what I'm doing. I love those guys still. I still write with a daily mentality, and I just can't get it out of my head. And I just was exchanging tweets with Paul Chapman, so I miss those guys dearly, but I've enjoyed it. It since we launched it in January of 2017, Donnie, we've had millions upon millions of unique page views. I've lost count. I mean, it's just so, I think, needed right now, and I'm so happy that, varsityletters.ca is able to do that. And, hey, listen to this. I got Gary Kingston coming to help me Friday and Saturday from the Vancouver, formerly of the Sun, right? My Grizzlies guy. Mm-hmm. Brad Zemer, another Grizzlies guy, was in yesterday from the Sun. He was writing stories. It's so fun to do. Steve Frost, obviously, you guys know well.
Yeah.
Frosty says, hey, I'll cover any tier you want. He's sitting up in a balcony in the South Court covering AA boys basketball on the same day that his son Mateo is playing for Terry Fox. And they win their first round game. He ducks in the gym, watches this kid, then goes back to writing. These guys want to help with Varsity Letters, and hey, I'm touched. I mean, it's unbelievable, the group of people willing to help out here.
Howard, thanks for this. And it's good to know that someone out there likes Paul Chapman.
Because he's got a lot of enemies. Howard.
Well, you know what? If the Detroit Lions and the Cincinnati Bengals play, we're going to whatever city that team's in, and we're going together. And Paul, if you're listening, that's down, man. That's happening.
We kid because we love. Howard, thanks for this. All the best. I know this is the favorite time of year for you.
Take good care, guys.
You bet. Nobody loves basketball, especially high school basketball.
Number one guy.
More than Howard Tsumura.